The CARES Act that was signed into law in late March had provided unemployment benefits to those who normally don't qualify. But it is now mid-May, and there are several people who are still waiting for their claims to process and start even paying out. Although some states have been paying out, several still are not. So a lot of people are asking, where's my money? And that's what we're going to be talking about right now. Hey everyone, Chris here from Real Rideshare Stories. If you're new to the channel and you're looking for different things within the rideshare industry, whether it's updates to what's going on, news, tips and tricks for passenger drivers, or what happens on real rideshare rides, start now by hitting that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. Also make sure to check the description below for other helpful information and tips. So first, let's start with some good news, and that is that 49 out of 50 states have systems in place so that people who normally cannot claim unemployment are now able to through new systems that have been put in place. So that means anybody who is an independent contractor, a freelancer, a gig worker, or a self-employed person can now apply in 49 out of the 50 states. Unfortunately for people in Nevada, that is still not happening, and who knows how long it might take for that because there is some controversy going on within Nevada itself. Now, going for the bad news, there are several people who are still waiting for their PUA unemployment assistance to go through and to start paying out. So it might have been several weeks for you already, and it still could be even more weeks as they are trying to process all of these applications state by state and get everything going through because it is a brand new program and there had to be a lot of updates to many of the systems within all 50 states. So it could be a little bit longer, but like I said, at least 49 out of the 50 states are allowing gig workers and those who normally don't qualify for benefits to be able to apply. So then at least the application process can get started and you just might have to wait a few more weeks. So this article right here is going to help answer what is exactly going on all over the place, when people are going to get benefits, and how many states are actually starting to pay out with their new pandemic unemployment assistance. And this article is from US News, so if you want to read this article, link will be in the description below. And it's titled, "Most States Are Finally Getting Unemployment Benefits to Gig Workers Affected by Coronavirus." And a little caption, "All states but Nevada now have systems to funnel unemployment assistance to independent contractors and workers affected by the virus." So again, unfortunately in Nevada, a lot of crap going on over there. So it goes, although the CARES Act signed in late March by Trump carved out a path to unemployment insurance for millions of gig worker, independent contractors, and individuals who would typically not qualify for traditional state-issued safety nets, many are still waiting on their payments. The federal legislation that established so-called pandemic unemployment assistance for non-traditional workers charged individual states with setting up the mechanisms necessary to distribute payments to those who qualify. The program offers up to 39 weeks of unemployment benefits to those who would normally not have access to such assistance. So depending on how long these stay-at-home orders do happen in parts of states or states in general, then some people may not be able to open up and get back yet. But yeah, it was up to the state itself on putting these new systems into place, and unfortunately, some of the systems were just too old. So, but with most states facing budgetary constraints, technological limitations, and outdated unemployment systems, workers have had long wait times to receive the benefits. As of the week ending on April 25th, the most recent for which pandemic unemployment assistance data is available from the Labor Department, and roughly 1 month after signing of the CARES Act, only 23 states were paying out benefits to non-traditional workers, and that was as of April 25th. But since then, more states have begun to dole out benefits. As of this week, PUA payments are now being distributed in 37 states, according to data from the National Governors Association. Formal Labor Department jobless claim report will reflect this uptick in the coming weeks. So again, that is good news because it was 23 states that were paying out in April 25th, and now it's May 15th, and now up to 37 states are starting to pay out their unemployment benefits, which is a good thing for all the people in those states and a very unfortunate thing for those who are still waiting in the states that are paying out, as well as the ones who haven't began paying out yet. So again, what's going on is there's a lot of system improvements and things along that nature. So it took a while for the PUA programs to get set up, but they are now operational in many states. Heidi, a senior economist, and director of policy at the Economic Policy Institute, wrote in a report last week, estimates range on the total size of the gig and independent worker economies in the U.S., but the most recent estimate from the Bureau of Labor Statistics suggested roughly 15.5 million Americans, or more than 10% of the workforce, relied on independent work as a primary source of income. So that is huge when it comes down to it on what they're talking about. And it says, although gig and independent work has been hit unevenly by the ongoing crisis, with demand plummeting for Uber drivers, for example, while companies like Instacart have announced plans to hire tens of thousands, actually hundreds of thousands of new grocery delivery workers. They started with 180 to 200,000 shoppers, and now they're up to almost 750,000 shoppers. So you can see how much they've actually grown. But they've also been hit with a lot of crazy things going on, like all these bot grabbers, a lot of new shoppers who are just trying to grab whatever they can, and also other people where there's claims that they could be selling batches from a third-party source, or even from Instacart itself. Now, those just are some of the issues, but for the most part, yeah, there's a lot of companies who are seeing some growth, including even the delivery market, where a lot of people can only take out or do curbside pickup or delivery for a lot of people who do not want to even leave the house. So anything that's dealing with delivery has gone up for the most part. So experts widely expect the PUA payments to soar once more workers are able to file and receive benefits. Many of these workers are likely to be disproportionately harmed in the recession that started in March 2020. A team of researchers at the Hamilton Project, an economic policy initiative at the Brookings Institution, wrote in a report published earlier this month. Whereas traditional workers are often buffered to some extent from changing macroeconomic conditions by their long-term relationship with an employer, non-traditional workers have often no such protection. Maryland began paying out its PUA on May 9th. By May 12th, the state's Department of Labor had issued a statement indicating 56,000 people had received more than $165 million in PUA. So you could see a lot of people are getting huge amounts of benefits. So payments began also circulating this week in West Virginia. As of May 12th, more than 16,000 people received a total of $18 million in benefits, and an additional $51.6 million in $600 weekly increments that were also made possible through the CARES Act, according to West Virginia Metro News Network. Now, Nevada. Nevada is the only state in which independent workers don't currently have an avenue for filing such claims. In states such as Alaska and Hawaii, independent workers can file claims, but will not begin receiving benefits until state governments put the appropriate frameworks in place. So again, in Hawaii and Alaska, you may be waiting longer. Who knows exactly how long? Among the states that launch application portals this week are Arizona, Delaware, Illinois, Kansas, and Ohio. So website glitches and technological difficulties have been reported in several states by unemployed workers attempting to receive benefits, including Florida and Colorado, and of course New York, which I did kind of a parody fun skit video, even though it's actually true, about my dealings when it came to unemployment, things like that. So if you want to check that out, it will be in one of the previous videos. I might try to put something right here for you if you want to check that out. But that was a mess when it came down to it. State officials have responded to complaints of delayed payments by acknowledging the sheer influx of applications they have faced. Every state in the country has seen a record number of weekly jobless claims at some point since the coronavirus-related shutdowns began in mid-March. Oklahoma was already in the process of updating its online unemployment system when the pandemic began. So Oklahoma's Secretary of Digital Transformation and Administration, in mid-April, it unveiled an updated unemployment platform alongside its new PUA software. Although Ostro says the updated technology, developed through a partnership with Granicus software company, has created a more secure and stable process for unemployment filings. He says the state received criticism for launching the program before it was able to actually process applications. So there has been a lot of confusion out there as well, too. So that took another 2 weeks because of the mainframe that was there. That led to frustration with folks. I've applied. I haven't heard anything. The state, like many others, is also grappling with tens of thousands of suspicious and potentially fraudulent unemployment filings. As of last week, more than 80,000 suspicious filings had been recorded in the state, and that's just in Oklahoma. So Ostrow says Oklahoma's new software has helped sort out bots that identify questionable filings, but that such activity was still creating delays for some people. So that is another thing that's going on. There are a lot of fraudulent claims that are going on because of this new way of pandemic unemployment assistance. So, and in some cases, individuals simply don't qualify for benefits, even under the expanded federal guidelines. And although many independent contractors and gig worker will eventually begin receiving assistance through the state and federal avenues, some will not. And Ostro says those are not easy conversations to have. My heart goes out to anybody that needs money, he says, but just because you applied doesn't mean you qualified. And communicating that back to some citizens have been challenging, to say the least, as well. Yeah, and unfortunately, that does mean that some people who have applied may not qualify. And unfortunately, because there's so many weeks that are passing, you may not know what is going on, and you may have to dip into savings, you may have to dip into a loan, whatever it might be. So unfortunately for that, there are some limitations when it comes down to it, especially since they haven't let people know exactly what's going on when it comes to people who may not qualify even under these expanded benefits. Now, what's going on with you out there? Have you been able to apply in your state? Have you heard anything back yet from your state? And have you received any payments? Comment below, let me know what's going on with your claim if you've claimed, what's going on if you haven't been able to claim, and then what state you're at. So comment below, let me know what's going on. That's the end of this video. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell for notifications so you'll be notified every time a new video is uploaded. And also make sure to check the description below for other helpful information and tips. And as always, never drink and drive. Always tip your drivers, your delivery drivers, and your shoppers. And we'll see you next time.